MAGA is in meltdown, everybody. Welcome to Law and Society. This is an impromptu episode. I wasn't planning on talking about this, but I went onto my YouTube to check my posts and comments, and my episode about no kings had just blown up with comments. And for a minor, small, ant-like channel like mine, to get dozens and dozens of what is personal attacks with no no working knowledge of how society operates or how the rule of law operates. It is vile, it is personal, and their attacks are everything from my voice to the black and white video to however you can demean somebody, and then the lies about how it was, he's obviously not a king. Well, you missed the point of the No Kings protest. And how, we are not really a democracy, we are a constitutional republic. I mean, if I have to go down that stupid rabbit hole again, I will lose my mind. And I'm not going to. But I want to tell you that the No Kings protest have maddened MAGA. They are so literal about everything. And they're so personal. They're so agitated and angry, making personal attacks. They don't know the law or how the Constitution works. They're ingrained with disinformation that they believe in truth. They believe that misinformation to be truth wholeheartedly. This level of inundation and brainwashing, I don't think can be fixed. So we have to accept, I think, that there's a part of our voting demographic who have completely been compromised by disinformation and hatred for everything that doesn't come out of MAGA. They don't see their cruelty. They don't see the reality. They don't see how vile their words are, because their words and actions are tacitly sanctioned by Donald Trump and his irresponsible and despotic actions and his brazen lies. So we live in a divided nation where there is a segment of the population who doesn't understand the law, who doesn't understand decency, who doesn't understand that we, anti-MAGA people or non-MAGA people, are not attacking even the MAGA people. We are not. We are fighting for their rights as well, for their healthcare premiums to not go up as well, for them to have jobs as well, for the cost of living to go down for them as well. But what we are against is the MAGA regime. What we are against is the despotism of Donald Trump's actions that violate the Constitution and the letter of the Constitution. Everything from the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, right to free speech, right to peaceful assembly, right against unreasonable searches and seizure in the Fourth Amendment, getting the due process of law that every person on United States soil is owed by the Fifth Amendment, right to counsel under the Sixth Amendment. These are not citizens' rights. These are all persons' rights. Then the citizens' rights of birthright citizenship, Donald Trump is contesting that. And then you go into the next level of Donald Trump violating separation of powers by taking the controls of American taxpayer money into the executive's hands, handing it to Russell Vought, when Article 1 of the Constitution, it's not even an amendment, it's part of the Constitution, the first article, that the power to spend and tax is Congress's power, and there's nothing about rescissions anywhere in the Constitution. And rescissions by its nature is the Congress abrogating its spending power, and nothing in the Constitution gives Congress the right to give up these powers. So Congress is violating its own prerogative its own position, its own primacy in these among the three branches because it is the closest to the people, and they decide where the money goes. I put a few things in the reference box that I think you should really read. Miles Taylor, who has been targeted by the Trump regime, says that we die by lies. And there's so much truth to that note. And if you, and he goes deeper into why we die by lies in his post. And I would really recommend that you read it. I posted the link in the references section. Professor Heather Cox Richardson, in her Letters from an American, says that sources are reporting that as many as 8.2 million people turned out to the No Kings protests to oppose Trump's administration. She addresses the AI video of Donald Trump going over and shitting on protesters, as several administration videos and images have responded to Americans saying no kings by taking the position, yes, we want kings, an open embrace of the end of democracy. But they're more than simply trolling. Led by Trump, MAGA Republicans, remember, led by Trump. We have to focus on the regime and the head of that snake, which is Trump. Led by Trump, MAGA Republicans have abandoned the idea of politics, which is this process of engaging in debate and negotiation to attract support and win power. What is left when a system loses the give and take of politics is force. And that's what we're seeing now with Donald Trump's regime, with NSPM 7, with him enlarging the dragnet from immigrants and undocumented migrants to homeless people, mentally ill people, to Antifa and anybody who espouses and identifies as anti-fascist. Thereby, anybody who is not supporting Donald Trump becomes an enemy of the state, a domestic terrorist. Dr. Richardson says Trump and his loyalists are continuing to underestimate the idea. Trump and his loyalists are continuing to undermine the idea of politics, policies, and debate, trying instead to delegitimize the Democratic opposition altogether. Administration imagery doesn't simply insult opposition leaders. It undermines the idea of politics by suggesting that Democrats are un-American. The reality is that 3/4 of those who are insured through the Affordable Care Act market live in states that voted for Trump. And Professor Richardson refers to scholar Lisa Corrigan in saying that yesterday, every single rally, including in small towns, was bigger than the surrounding police force available. That kind of image event is very important if you're demonstrating social coherence against a fascist government and its makeshift Gestapo. The frogs and unicorns and dinosaurs will be defining ideographs of this period of struggle. And so, I wanted to read those excerpts from Professor Richardson and Miles Taylor because I want to give you a reference point to where you can go and see and learn about what Donald Trump is trying to do by these AI-generated videos where he portrays himself as king, as a trolling method on Democrats, and then you hear him talk about the protests, about it was all wackos and it was very little. 8.2 million people nationwide is not little. Then you see Mike Johnson talking about it in his clips, and I've included those clips in the reference, that, you know, he was congratulating us for exercise of our First Amendment rights. And you could see his face really not happy about the fact that he has to talk about free exercise of speech. But like you get to see that the Republicans are really all over the place. They are in disarray, and they are lashing out at personal attacks at small, minor, non-consequential people like me, and all the way to the top to Democratic leadership. But their attacks are not substantive. Mike Johnson is saying that he wants to work towards health care as well. Well, he passed a bill that takes $1 trillion away from Medicare, from Medicaid in the big bad bill that they passed. He's not talking about that. That's a real truth. And that's what Democrats are wanting restored in order for the government to be reopened again. And they also want extension of the Affordable Care Act subsidies that lowers health insurance premiums for millions and millions of Americans. So these are real things that Democrats are demanding. We are also demanding stopping the violation of constitutional rights and separation of powers. We are saying that, we're not saying that, oh, Donald Trump knows he's king or Donald Trump feels he's king. We are saying that we believe, and therefore we are telling Donald Trump as his employers that he is acting like a king and a despot and he needs to stop. If MAGA doesn't understand that, too bad for you. You are on the wrong channel commenting and discouraging the wrong person, because the more vile and more personal you get, the more I understand that the message is getting through and something is happening. The more I'm energized to come back and talk about it again. So please feel free to attack me. It only empowers me. With that said, thank you so much to anybody who likes what I've said. Please remember to share and subscribe and read the references and watch the video clips that I provided. And you'll get an understanding of where we are after the massive No Kings protests nationwide. Take care, everybody.